Here we are, hitting up events, drinking our way through Chicago beer, and trying not to miss a thing.
Yeah, because, got a cork popped out, boom, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it.
All you have to do is add some fruit, stir it up, and ride that milk-shaped wave.
Whenever I see him, I gotta take a photo with the most decorated brewer in Chicago, Jonathan Cutler.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to, every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Sometimes you want a small beer, but really, you want a big beer.
You gotta take in all those big aromatic hops.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Waiting in line for a bottle release?
You should have never been a fad. The black IPA is delicious.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
And we are post St. Patrick's Day now, as we are, I'm slow on getting these episodes up, so it's still St. Patrick's Day in Beer Pass land.
In episode world.
Yeah, but we are living post St. Patrick's Day now.
Rapidly approaching April.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think might as well be Christmas.
Fuck, it's like 25. It's 25 today. It's gonna snow tomorrow.
Right. I'm trying to usher in summer here with some IPA, some Haze, and it's just not happening.
I'm leaving the house with no jacket. I should probably knock that off.
Right.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold.
But we've got this week some Marz Brewing Overhaze.
Yeah, lovely purple can, 6.8%. Marz, of course, the community of the future down in Bridgeport. The Marzuski
Community
brothers.
of the Future? Or you
That's
just
what they.
make that
That's
up?
what. No, that's what they call. That's what Marz calls Bridgeport. I don't know if it catches on to like the rest of Bridgeport. I don't know if like the Bridgeport Ice Center saying it, but Marz definitely says.
Was it just
we're the
community of the
future.
past? It was a community, and then everyone left, and now it's a new community?
Everyone left, and then Ramova moved in. Who else is down there? Yeah, it's just Marz and Marova for breweries. Marz
okay.
and remote. Well, Marz and other half at the Ramova Theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This feels like a pretty classic Haze beer. Marz sometimes does like some weird stuff or some different things. This just feels like it went default Haze. You're like, I don't know, if you were in like one of those like Star Trek regulator, like give me a Haze beer. That's what this is.
This is a stock Haze photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's good.
It's very pretty. It's pillowy. It's that nice hue of pineapple juice.
But I almost forget about it as soon as I'm drinking it. It's like leaving my mind that it's even like, whose is it? It could be anybody's, right? It's weird.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. The only crew, well, if you go to Hop Butcher, they have a similar setup with like maybe 4 or 5 hazies on, maybe more. But the hops are so different that when you have them in samplers side by side, you're like, oh, okay.
You get it.
I like this one, and I don't like these hops. It's like a hop showcase in that respect,
That's definitely fun to do.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have a hop that like even like stands out.
No, and then they don't list anything, so there's no guide on the things you're tasting that you can reference to an ingredient or a type of hop.
Yeah. But it's not bad. We're going to sip on this. But we were talking in the pre-show, and this beer alone sort of got us going because it's called Overhaze.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Overhaze because you're Overhaze?
Yeah.
Or is it like Overhazy, like Overcast, or you're just done with haze, like you're over it?
That's funny because it reminds me of Haymarket has a beer called Hazy is Lazy.
Right, which isn't really a hazy, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you. I remember seeing a can. I'm like, oh, they're
Because
fucking nursery rhymes on cans now.
Even before that came out, it was at a beer under glass. Pete Crowley hated the whole idea of hazy beers, despised it, and said he wouldn't do one.
Then it was probably a West Coast then, right? If it wasn't hazy, it was probably a clear beer.
Right.
That beer.
That beer, yeah, I don't know. I've never poured it out.
Me either. I just remember the name.
Yeah,
The name connotation kind of makes you feel like it might not have been hazy.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's a good beer. Mm-hmm. But all right, back to this like over haze, over hazy beers. Are you over them?
There are some experiences that can still be fun. Um, I was at a work event like 2 days ago, and it was bowling alley, and the only craft they had was a Voodoo Ranger from fucking New Belgium,
Okay.
and that's not a hazy, but I was like, man, I'm drinking it's gotta be 2-3 month old, West Coast IPA or Mountain IPA, but I like didn't care, because it just put me it's just where I want it to be.
Yeah.
I was in that mode, so I still have moments where I'm in that mode for hazy stuff.
Where you
So
want
where
a haze.
where I don't mind a good hazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have those moments. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe not a whole 4-pack of them. So I definitely graduated from getting I really like the milkshake blazed orange from. They have a milkshake version and just a regular hazy version of blazed orange from Hot Butcher.
Okay.
I really like that beer. I would not go get 4 of those today from my fridge. Not because I don't like it any less. I just don't want 4 of anything.
Well, I may pick up a 4-pack of some sort of pale ale, or even like a zombie dust kind of thing, right?
I do like Zombie Dust. Shout out to Half Acre. I did pick up that lime lager. I was at Half Acre for I got a little sample.
Torch?
On and on 4. Green Torch.
Green Torch,
I tried on and on 4 in a sampler. There were kids in there. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
In the sampler?
There's kids in the sampler. There's kids in the brewery. And at night, that drives me nuts. They're crying and shit. I'm like, you people have no... You people make me sick. You people make me sick. If you got your kid, take your ass home.
Oh, damn.
That's just me. I'm a grumpy old man. If I got I have a kid. Obviously, I have a kid. If I have a kid, I'm not taking her to the fucking brewery.
Okay.
That's just me. So pay me no mind. I'm just grumpy.
All right. But I do agree with that. I'm very unlikely, besides for the show, to grab a 4-pack to drink at home. It's just not gonna happen because I'm not. Maybe 2 of them.
So that's a similar sentiment to what I'm saying.
Right.
You're doing it functionally for a thing.
Right. Or and then I would probably, if I'm at like a Hot Butcher or even Alarmist or wherever, I may try whatever hazy they have on.
Yeah, some are definitely better than others. Like you
Right.
brought up Alarmist, and I'm like, yeah. Last time I was at Alarmist for some barrel aged stout thing, I was like, let me get that Le Juice.
Right.
Yeah,
And no matter how good it is, I don't really want 4 of them. Beezer, I don't want 4 of them.
Beezer's great. When they put them together,
Yeah.
it's even great. It's just great. But you got a 4-pack now.
Right, exactly. And then, continuing this idea, I'm seeing lately, there's something happened with, less risk being taken in craft beer, which, the profits are becoming smaller and smaller, right?
Yeah.
So putting something into, a barrel-aged such and such, or some sour cotton candy crunch thing. You're not seeing that as much, and everyone's kind of making the same beers.
No fried chicken in beer. Somebody did that.
Yeah.
No fried chicken and waffles in the fucking brew co.
I feel like less
I think that
crazy
was
stuff.
Hailstorm and Microphone, I think.
And more things that are just they know are gonna work. The Czech dark lagers, the premium lagers.
I mean, what's not to love? It says premium.
Right. So everyone kind of has a lager, a hazy beer, an IPA, and maybe a Czech lager or some sort of pale ale.
Beer is going through. We were talking about this at your party, by the way. Actually, it's like beer is kind of going through an identity crisis now because people who enjoy those beers, it's a smaller audience because the old timers are kind of phasing out of beer, right? People that were really into beer in the '80s probably don't drink as much beer, right? In the '90s and shit, even early 2000s, those people are probably not drinking as much beer, right? The beer consumer would rather just drink at home or just drink other beverages, whether it's whiskey or cocktails or tequila or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the younger folks, the millennials, Gen Z.
Millennials are still drinking.
Sorry, you're right. Gen Z, they come in and they see, it might not be approachable for them. It's very, boys club, very kind of tomboy are some of the themes of these beers. The space might not be as inviting as they would want.
And it's expensive.
It costs. You know, there's a cost there, you know, and they might not see it as worth it. So I mean, you know, beers got some identity concerns that they might want to address. You know,
Right.
this, and I'm bringing that up to say, hey, that this might be one of them. Like,
Right, because now with every brewery basically kind of making the same beer, it doesn't matter where you go. We enjoy going to all these places and checking them out and seeing what they're doing because they all have different aesthetics and vibes, and they're all doing like maybe one beer that's different or like something that they don't package, or I don't know. You're not gonna go. I don't see Bubble House in the store. So maybe going out to Bubble House, even if they have the same 4 beers everyone's
smash.
doing.
I got smash beer with hop A, smash beer with
Hop
hop B.
B, right. But it doesn't matter which place you go to because they're all kind of the same. And is that bad? Like Alarmist, Old Irving, one has food, one doesn't, but they got the same beers, right?
Well, Kolsch, Lager, Hazy, Stout,
Yeah. Pale.
Red, and then just variations on those.
Not to say like there's only so many styles, right?
And then, but you know, there's a trade organization that most of these folks are in. You know, whether it's the local guild or whether it's the Brewers Association, and there's direction or suggestions from those guilds. You know, there's data to suggest that this is what people want. And to be fair, that's always been a thing in beer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's always been some styles that, you know, that have a wave and you make them. Well, beer by nature, beer seasonality. You know, beer seasonality has been around longer than we've been drinking it.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, so there's always been some parity, I guess, with the stuff that people are making.
I just think we saw this crazy, I don't know, this crazy wave happen with Haze that when we started drinking craft beer, there was no hazy beer. That wasn't even a thing.
The hazy beer was Hefeweizen.
Right.
That was it.
And then all of a sudden there was this thing. Everyone was chasing it.
Yep.
And it was a wild ride. Now we're like post Haze. And it's now just one of the beers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so-
It's not a trend. You mean we're post the trend of haze.
But yeah,
Yeah.
even though it's still like a top selling
Yeah.
beer, but it's also one of the most made beers now at this point.
Yeah, I think what was I gonna say? I think well the obvious outlier to this is we talked about Haymarket and how they pretty much have been making the same beers since we know them. In contrast to that, Hubbard's Cave Unani started as a Belgian brewery.
Right.
To a lesser extent, Alamos was very Belgian pale ale focused
Right.
when they started. And then they just kind of read the market and said, "Hey, man, we like these beers, but this ain't gonna be enough to float it all. We
There's
gotta
not
switch."
enough. There's not enough audience to sell Belgian beers.
Yeah. The dearly departed Metro, they said we're only making lagers because everyone else is making IPAs.
Right. So we'll be lagers.
And
But
we're lager guys, but then everybody caught up to that and kind of started making lagers.
ate their lunch really. Like if Metro needed, and we've said this many times, they need to pivot and suck it up, and you're not a lager brewery.
The small
You're a
pivot-
lager forward brewery.
Lager forward brewery. I guess a small pivot was the coffee program, right?
Right.
But it wasn't enough to sustain, I guess. Oh, but well, look at what Off Color is doing. To your point, the reason I'm bringing up Off Color is because a lot of what you're saying is true. Outside of a handful of places, you know, you go to Off Color, there's 18 on, maybe 20 on, and I'm just like, it's everywhere. Italian pills, you know, Bohemian pills, fucking weird ass collaboration where they borrowed half the yeast from an Allagash. You know, barrel aged stout. It's all points in between and cocktails.
Right. I
It's
think
very
someone like
bizarre.
Alarmist is not Alarmist. Off Color is maybe what I don't know. We were seeking out in beer, or like what we were seeing. Like everyone just doing crazy stuff. And it's like I gotta go out to this place in Westmont and see what they're making there because they're not I don't know. My places don't have that.
Yeah, and then we used to get a tip off on what the burbs were doing.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was Poor Man or Suburbia or, you know, there's a couple other crews whose names I draw a blank on, but they all just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
So if we don't go out there, we don't know what the fuck's going on out there.
Right.
But the reason why the alcoholic thing is people kind of ridiculed them in the beginning. I don't know. I remember going to, back before Founders were assholes. We drive up to Founders, and one of my buddies was like, worked at a distro that sold off color, and she was saying how it was really hard. People didn't accept off color. They had the
What's a grisette?
the goza.
It was like a Jesus.
Grisette?
Grisette. Was it I thought it was like even a longer word than that. But it might have been
I know what you're talking about. This super tiny smoke beer.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of that. But they had to change the name of their goza to a blended wheat beer because nobody knew what the fuck a goza was. They had these certain accounts that they wanted to sell their beer in, right? All the nerd bars, your Hop Leafs, your local options, etc. And outside of that, the distro wasn't pushing their beer. They're like, hey, we're making all these cool beers. You guys are fucking this up for us. That project almost flopped getting out the gate.
Sure.
And now we see it as like, man, they were super courageous, but that was an absurd proposition to make these weird ass beers that everybody else wasn't making. So, the reason everybody's making the same shit is because nobody can afford to not make the same shit as everybody else. I think that's my point.
That's true, and I think that's maybe why. Oftentimes the seasonals are probably the most interesting and what I end up when I'm out somewhere, because I was at Hop Leaf, I think I mentioned in the last episode, and I had the Dicey Riley, but I'm looking at this Hop Leaf menu, it's like, I don't want one of these Belgian beers.
Not even the Quack, the one that comes in a Coachman where it's like a beaker and the beaker's in a wood handle.
Yeah, they're fun. The glassware's fun, but is the beer any better than what we're making here? Like, they're good beers, but I was just like, I don't want any of these beers. I've had these beers too, and
so part of the issue is,
are we bored, or have we changed?
Part of the issue is, has our appreciation changed because we've been doing it for so long?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's open-ended. I don't know. But yeah, we were talking about Dark Lord Day earlier, and I was like, man, I love Dark Lord Day. I love everything about it. But I mean, do I want to go? It's 30 miles. It's all your day. Do you want to go drink those beers and listen to metal today, and with the same excitement that you did 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So part of it is definitely that you're seeing all the similarities and wondering what the fuck's going on. Part of it is because a lot of these beers are similar. Part of it is also, just part of it is us.
Yeah, that's true. But I think on the last episode, 2 episodes ago, you said you just been going around and just drinking lagers, right? You're just doing lagers. I think that's a fun way to kind of look at it too, where you're kind of just being like, well, I got my one I love. Can anyone beat this?
I think you're
trying
right.
to find someone to I'm trying to think of what's another basically just your favorite thing. You're trying to find someone to top it.
Oh, same thing with I guess burgers, right? We were doing that with the burger hunt, any kind of hunt, right? Like, you start thinking, if you like music, after a while you just start stacking up all your concerts over years, and you're like, well, how do these rank?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it started with Cold Time. Honestly, I had a fridge full of Cold Time, and I'm just like, all right, this is good today. How's it taste on draft? Well, actually, I like it a little better on draft. And then I'm like, you know what? How does Black Horizons compare to fucking Cold Time? And then you're just like, oh, okay, these are not all the same. And now I'm like, well, let's just start ranking them. And then that way I can go, bounce around and not get hammered.
Yeah.
Because at this bowling thing the other day, I was fucking wrecked off this Voodoo Ranger. I had 3 pints. And I was fucking wrecked. I had to eat like twice. It was ridiculous.
Damn. I think that's a fun way to do it. But then at the same time, it also, to me, I've gone to places and just gotten the lager. And it's like, I can get a lager anywhere. I should have got one of these other ones that I can't try. Like whatever, if they have black IPA or something else that you don't usually see. I'm like, oh, should I have done that? But then I just get this lager.
Yeah, you do miss out on the other stuff. You gotta pick an adventure, right?
Right.
If you pick the lager, you got 12, you got 16 ounces of this lager. That you've picked it. That's your adventure. You can't get the other ones, right? You can't. Yeah. Or the Haze could be your adventure. Like we talked about Hot Butcher, go there and try 4 little ones. But that's the adventure. I can't get 4 little ones and a lager. It's gotta be one or the other.
Right.
You know. Or you look up, you've had 5 beers in one spot.
That's true. So you mentioned Haymarket kind of, I don't know, not changing with the times, right? Because
Yeah. Other than that barley wine that they probably won a medal for a Phobab, I think. Other than that barley wine, like I don't, and right, they might have a strawberry hef, but other than that, what are they doing different from when they opened? Not much different. You know,
Right.
I go there, sit at the bar. You know, I get fucking Matthias,
Angry Bird or
Angry Birds, Matthias, fucking Defender, Indignant, or Claire's. I don't even know if they make Claire's anymore.
I don't know.
But you know, you kind of get the core stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
But then on the flip side, or over here by us, we got Beguile
Yeah.
that hasn't really changed, and they don't even have any. Do they have a hazy beer?
Right.
They have some stouts. They don't have a premium lager. They kind of just have a lot of pale ale IPAs.
I think when I think Beguile, I think Imperial Pajamas, but I think Freebird,
Yeah.
or I think that coffee brown that you always bring,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
that's called. I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
But I think those beers. I think just kind of easy,
Birds together or flocks together. or
easy, quaffable, balanced beers. Not really trying to make a lot of noise.
whatever. Right. Like
You know.
beach beers or park beers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Might be a saison in there, you know. But yeah, I just think outside of Imperial Pajamas, a lot of their stuff is stuff you take to the beach or to a party.
Right.
Yeah. It's not something I really just sit there and enjoy. Like at I go to Dovetail and it's totally different. Like I just want to drink all those beers at that bar.
Right.
Or in the corner with the little fucking the cold service.
Right.
You know, I feel like that's a time and place thing. I don't think that with Beguile. Beguile it's interesting because they don't have a box. You don't put Beguile in a box.
Right. But then does that hurt them because we're drinking this Overhaze? It's kind of forgettable where it's good, but that's kind of all Beguile's beers, right? They're always good.
Yeah.
Always good. But
yeah.
you like almost forget about them.
We struggled to name 5 of them,
Right.
right?
But then when I'm out, happily, I'm like, well, yeah, give me the Beguile.
That's true.
Over all of those Belgian beers, take the Beguile.
That's true. It's a, it's a solid north side option,
Yeah.
right? North side, solid Ravenswood option. If there's a quality north side brewery.
Right.
I don't really have much else outside of that. But if I saw them, like if I'm at opening day and I see Beguile on draft, I'd be like, you know what? Amongst the other regular macro shit and Marz, I'd be like, let me get the Beguile. I'd probably do that.
It sits in, they definitely sit in a weird spot where they are forgotten, but whenever you have it, you're like, oh yeah, that was good. It's never going to be bad, right?
And then it's weird because I don't know if we're trying to discount them, but they sit a block away from Dovetail,
Yeah.
which is great. They understand that, and then they all decide let's party every year, so they do killer parties. And now Beguile's branched off and doing parties with bottles and cans. So they're oddly kind of a space that I'm always happy to go in that direction. I'm like always happy if I end up over there.
Yeah.
You know, but who else outside of people who live in Ravenswood? Like no one's saying if you're out of town, you're not saying
Go to Beguile.
right. You're not saying what are you drinking back home? You're not saying Beguile.
Right.
You know, and then if people are in town, you're not telling them necessarily to go there.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But if you think someone else like maybe like a Corridor, if I saw them on the shelf or on tap, I may not get it because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna get myself into.
Yeah, it's true.
So Beguile sits in a weird spot, but who aren't following just the trends that everyone's doing. They're just kind of like making these.
Yeah, we're making our seasonal stuff plus the stuff we're good at.
Right, and Kevin, owner, founder there, he's an accountant, so I'm sure he's run the numbers like, we just keep selling these, we're good for, why fuck this up? If these are selling, we're not gonna rock the boat here. We don't need to chase the trend.
Yeah. I guess in a sense, Dunier's kind of like that too, right? Because they have a very specific lane of spontaneously fermented beers. They're not kettle, and they're not full on sours in the way that Cantillon is a sour.
But they sort of have the other brewery that they can do
Oh yeah,
stuff with.
they have clean beers. They have Modern Dune,
Right.
which is your IPAs and your pales and your whatever else. Yeah.
So they kind of did what Uni did, where it was like, we're going to do this. It's probably not going to fully work out.
This is the shit that's fun and the shit that we like to drink and the shit we're excited to do. But these beers might not be for everybody. So we should do something else too.
Like even, Half Acre tried to do that with the cave stuff, right?
Yeah, what did they call their cave? They had a cave.
Hidden cave?
A cove.
Cove, yeah.
It was some kind of cove.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but shout out to Avery Swanson, who they credit her with kind of introducing them into that whole world.
But that's kind of that didn't work out.
The Hut or whatever it was called, the Cove. They don't have those beers anymore. Yeah, that when they sold Lincoln, that program kind of died. I think, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when's the last time you seen a Cove beer from them?
Right.
Yeah.
And we know they have that new spot opening, Sundial or.
I think you're right.
Sundial.
No, Sundial is a joint up in the old Flesk up in Barrington.
Oh.
That's Sundial. Suncatcher.
Suncatcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like this fits in kind of where we're talking that it's just going to be a place that has beer and then there's no sun and you can't go outside and we shut it down.
Yeah.
There's basically
it's literally a seasonal brewery.
Right.
Where we're taking the idea of seasonal beer and kind of shrinking that down to let's just have a seasonal brewery. Honestly, I'm kind of into that.
Which, as we talk about like all these breweries kind of making the same beers, but your brewery is meant to serve your area, right? Like,
yeah.
They're not for us to travel 500 miles to and be like, let's go try the lager from this brewery. That's kind of defeating the purpose of a lot of it at this point, right? It's like, we just make the beers like the Suncatcher. We're just going to make the beers here for the people that live over here.
Yeah, I'm into that approach. Right. Look at
what's the other one off the
Kimball Arts Center?
606.
Yeah, we're thinking the same one. It's in the Kimball Arts Center.
Oakenroy.
Yep, Oakenroy. What are they making?
You forget that exists. I forget it exists all the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's here.
Beer is a function of the space. It's not even really. It's difficult to say if you make the beer there, you're not trying to be a brewery. That's the wrong thing to say.
Oh, you know what? Has beer just become like coffee, where you have a lot of options. Some are a little better than others, but
because we're not being fair. No one goes to the coffee shop and be like, man, what the fuck is up with these coffees? All like, oh, Sumatra again, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one.
Right.
So, are we being fair?
Oh yeah, you're trying to be fancy with your pea berry beans. Oh yeah, whatever.
I mean,
charging me more for coffee that's. Roasted 2 minutes longer.
Or steak houses, right? That's all we can compare beer to at this point. No one goes to the steakhouse and says, "Oh, they didn't, they didn't pour water all over my steak like they do in that one meme, right?" You know what I mean? Like,
right? Maybe we like got to the point of beer now where it's less about like I don't know, baseball cards. You got to like collect them all, and you're trying to find the rare ones. It's just like this is just. It's everywhere. It's easy to get. Enjoy them when you have them. Some people make better ones. Some people don't make very good ones, but they're selling beer.
Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because like, we drink it all the time, so we're supposed to fuss over it.
Right.
So this is a valid conversation. But then I wonder if fussing over it is being fair in the larger context of other things at work. Now, we should still fuss over them if we don't think they're up to par with the other ones.
Sure.
But what if everybody's making ones that are really good?
Right. When we do our Oktoberfest lineup later this year, and they're all just like, rather than a line this way, they're all just like, well, most of them fit in a cluster here and then here.
Which was a lot of what happened, right?
Yeah.
So I actually think this is a good conversation to have, even though I'm like, I feel kind of guilty having this conversation, right? I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good conversation to have because, yeah, I mean, I don't want these styles to go away. I like the what's the word? I like the not ambiguity, but I like the where everything is you go anywhere and you don't have to really be concerned about which one you go to. Any of them you go to, you'll have a similar feeling. Whatever that word is, I'm kind of I don't mind that, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
I think to some degree it's nice, and to some degree it's bad. When it's all, when every coffee shop's a Starbucks, when every brewery is a Anheuser-Busch brewery,
oh no, well yeah, okay,
then
you're right.
you're like, well, you're not really getting options.
That's true. It's the illusion of choice at that
Right.
point. You're talking about coffee, metric coffee. You know, you told me you got the big ass bag of metric.
Yeah.
So now I got the big ass bag of metric. Oh, metric's closing up their Fulton location and they're moving to Avondale.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So like a couple blocks from Rev Kedzie, like just on the other side of Belmont. So basically Belmont and Kedzie. But like I'm bringing it up because they got a patio, but then they're also doing live music. They're doing
Why are they leaving Fulton?
the bigger space, I guess. Bigger space. They're doing wine at night. They're doing an espresso bar. Oh, but they're doing all these other things that they weren't doing at the other location.
Okay.
But it's still a coffee shop, you know. But yeah, I was kind of excited about that because I'm like, well, yeah, sure, it's freshly roasted coffee. I couldn't tell you the difference between, you know, the dark matter house blends and the metric house blends. Like,
Sure.
I've no,
I can't tell you from their premium lager to that premium lager.
I have no fucking
but
idea. I can't tell you what Intelli is
Sometimes
doing.
I like that one. Sometimes I like this one.
You know, intelligentsia, dark matter, metric. I don't fucking know. I just like fresh coffee, right? I don't fucking know. But I'm still excited that they're fucking, you know, that they're moving and they're doing something different.
Yeah.
And when you get in there, so but the coffee being essentially the coffee, I think I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we've gotten to a conclusion that beer is just coffee now, and it's everywhere, and it needs to always be at a certain level now, right? Like,
And as if everyone's making the same styles, as long as they're all good stuff. This is St. Louis.
oh yeah, because you talked about that.
This is St. Louis. Everyone's making lagers, but they're all fucking good. I'm at Side Project, and Side Project's known for stouts and fucking sours. And I'm drinking the lager, and I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm missing out on anything because the lager's good. You know, as long as they're good, right? If everybody's making the same thing and it's good, I think it's still a win.
Right.
You know?
Because I think that's what happened even since we started the show or drinking craft beer. It's hard to be bad anymore. Like there's a few of them, you know, Steve Hamburg at
With the Beer Society?
and yeah, it told us in the streets of
Oak Park.
Oak Park.
Yeah.
These people are making bad beer.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't say that very often,
Yeah.
but they're making bad beer. I don't remember who it was at this point, but he's like, don't try it. And it's like, everyone is like at a level, and when someone is under that level, they're not gonna make it very long because you gotta at least be passable in general.
Yeah, unless everybody in that walking distance is okay with what you're doing, then it doesn't matter. And the only reason that anybody would complain is when you go to a fest and people from the fest don't live near you where you are and they're trying you for the first time and you're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, other than that, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Right. I think I've only had that with like Burning Bush, where I'm like, some of these are not good, and some of them are very good, and so they kind of hit this weird spot where it's like, someone's got to tell you these ones are bad.
Someone, yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think, yeah, that'll work itself out, or maybe not. Argus had a 9-year run. You know, they had 9
It
years.
was 9 years? Damn.
And they had figured it out in year 8.
Right.
And they were killing it.
we
Year
went
8
there,
was the
we did
best year they ever had.
We went there, did an episode, and we're like,
And-
these beers are way better than they were.
And it was nobody cares. Too late.
Yeah.
It was too late. So that's part of it too. The burn rate, for lack of a better word, of these breweries. Like how deep are your pockets for you to figure it out? You know, you can, you know. So you could have beer and no one likes it, and it could run for 9 years.
Yeah,
It
'cause
could
you
run for
talked
9
about
years.
Three Floyds with Dark Lord Day. Three Floyds beers were at this top of the, I don't know, pedestal for everyone for so long, and now they're just like, just another beer. For most of their beers, they're just like, oh, Zombie Dust, or do I want the Beguile Pale? And like, I don't know. Maybe what else you got?
And I think some of it with Floyd's, because it's funny you say this because I had Zombie Dust. There's a bar at the end of like a block from me that I had never been to.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going. I've been here for 2 years. I never been to this place. I'm going. I'm like, let me get the Zombie Dust on draft. And part of the Floyd's is that they tweak every year. They fucking tweak these recipes. So Zombie Dust ain't the Zombie Dust I had in, 2012 or whatever. It's just not, and on purpose. They tweak every year, and I don't know. Now it's kind of like they tweak every year, and now I'm out on Zombie Dust. I don't know what in the Floyd's lineup can give me the feeling that Zombie Dust gave me, because I first had that beer, and it was just a Citra Pale.
I looked for Brian Baru because Brian Baru always gives me those feelings. He's not around.
Or the one beer that's really dialed in from them, Chemtrail Mix, and Vanilla Barrel Aged Dark Lord. But those beers you never fucking see because you got to do the song and dance to get those beers, right? So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fun conversation to have because you run into the, do I not like this as much? Because I do like trying these different beers and going to places, but then I'm like, I'm just drinking lagers and the pale ales.
Do you even have to, like, why am I even here kind of thing? Is that how you feel sometimes?
Sometimes, but like, maybe like, am I missing something? I feel like maybe I'm missing something. Like I lost something, but maybe I didn't, and I like those kind of beers, and that's what I'm gonna drink. I don't need to drink this big stouts or the quads or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'll try something new and then get pissed if it's not as amazing as the stuff that I know they make good.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go on a phase where I'm just like, well, just let me get a little something then, from like, fuck it. Let me get La Juice. Let me get something I know is good, and I'm not here to fuck around with, whomever is that I don't usually drink.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, experiment. Just let me get something I know is going to be good. I'm less likely to explore, though, for sure. Trying to think of the last time I had, like, an experience where I went to a bar or a brewery and was like, man, they're not known for this. I had this, and I thought it was great. It might have been that they got a coffee stout at Alarmist right now. That's pretty good.
Oh, they do?
They got a barrel-aged version. I can't think of the name of this beer for nothing.
Well, their barrel aged series just came out.
Yeah.
Rune Master.
Rune Master. So Rune Master, I think the OG Rune Master is going to see production. And it's fine. It's solid beer. But this coffee one is pretty lights out because it's a very, triple dosed kind of expression. It's not trying to be balanced at all. It's like a straight up coffee stout.
No, I gotta go back. I gotta go Alarmist. I've been there like twice in the last month.
A little bitty pour of this, and I was like, I don't know Alarmist for stouts at all. Ever.
No, I think this is their first kind of forte into
I get
the
flake
barrel aged stouts.
I get La Juice, the flaked oat hazy. I get the crispy boy. I get the fucking
Pantsless.
I get pantsless on cask with the fancy hops. I get chocolate and strawberry pantsless on cask for fucking Valentine's. I never get a stout.
Okay.
So that was the last experience where I was like, yo, I don't know them for these, and I drink this and it's great. So there's always gonna be room for that. But.
Yeah. That's true. Interesting. Man, all right. I don't know. This maybe makes me feel a little better, but I feel like these are talks where people come in and out of craft beer, maybe like wane or like kind of like, oh, what's happening in the scene, and then like I don't know anymore. It starts to be overwhelming, but then
and then it's, what is it, cider, I think, and non-alcoholic. And hop water, those areas are growing, and craft is not.
Right. That's because they're making the same stuff. We need a new,
They don't want to fuck. They don't want to fuck up and be stuck with some beer.
not to like run this story to the ground, but do we need a new haze craze? Or we will see something at some point. Somebody will figure out something new to do. Is that what we need? Like a totally new style of beer to come around?
Haze stuck and never left.
Right.
You know, I like the haze that tastes like juice, the straight juice hazies.
Yeah.
I mean, those don't miss. Those are good. You know, something that just tastes like orange, just tastes like fuzzy orange juice with booze in it. Those don't miss. All these other ones, I don't know. Everybody should just make the super juicy ones
Right.
and be done with it, or make smaller versions of the super juicy ones, where it's like, and I don't know. You don't want to tell people go away from beer flavors or go away from hops that don't remind you of fruit juice.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. Those are the ones that hit. Those are the ones I like. You know, the no shame, sweet
Juice,
yeah.
orange juice, tangerine
Fucking
kind of things.
pineapple. Those are the ones for me, man. Like Orange Julius, fucking. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the ones I dig.
I think those are the ones you remember, and that's why we started the show with this one. It's forgettable.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets lost. It's not it's not very expressive in any direction. It's just kind of like, here you go. Here's a haze.
Right.
Prototypical haze.
Not to say it's bad. Marz makes pretty good beer in general,
Yeah, if I was going to Marz, I'd just get Jungle Boogie.
I guess, or their the lager, right?
Oh, Lola?
Chug Life?
Chug Life.
Chug Life.
Chug Life. Yeah, Chug Life's pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what we gotta do. The only other thing before we close out here, new brewery opening, right? The one downtown?
Oh, Industry Ales, is it open?
I thought you were talking about it at St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, everybody at St. Patrick's Day was excited that there is an option downtown that's going to be coming soon, because they do a good job of updating on their IG. Industry Ales, 230 South Wabash, so that's basically like Michigan, and by the what's the thing that's got the two lions out front? That museum, whatever that museum is.
Oh yeah, Art Institute.
It's right there.
Oh, okay.
It's basically like a block west of there. Yeah. Says they're coming soon. I'm kind of excited about this because, Crushed by Giants is, technically that's like Streeterville.
Right.
So there's no breweries in the loop proper outside of the Berghoff one. Whatever.
Adam Street.
Outside of Adam Street, and doing
Which is fine. Adam Street's fine.
Right. That's what I'm saying, So it's like, this is a brand new concept right in the middle of downtown Chicago, which is kind of hard to do if you talk to a Half Acre or Rev. Their argument is, why the fuck would anybody build down here? Because no one's selling you the space and the rent's going to be insane. So fuck it. Right. So no one's really been building down there.
Okay.
So that's what made this interesting, because people are like, yo, I'm passing through there, or I'm always down there. This would be a good stop for us to meet. Industry Ales. So I'm pretty excited about that. I did have a preview of them at the Virgin Hotel, whatever that restaurant is in there.
Yeah.
They had a preview event, but I'm looking forward to taking the full space for a spin.
So no date, just a more updated coming soon.
Yeah. So the tanks are in, they're brewing, they're training staff. The space is completely built out, so they're ready to go. I'm guessing, spring launch would be my guess.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, their IG is a good job of updates. Industry Ales.
All right, nice. And then when are you going to Short Fuse to try the new crankshaft?
Well, I work from work once a week. So.
Work from work.
Yeah, I'm usually.
I work from work too.
One day a week I take my work from home and work from work. So next time I work from work, I might pop in there and see what's up.
See
if microphone's closed.
If it has the crankshaft vibes.
If microphone's open, I'm probably just going to get the 9th anniversary for microphone, because I already missed it fucking around with this Short Fuse adventure. So.
All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
I think that's it, man.
Did Guinness blow it? not really do a huge St. Patrick's Day.
They did one. It just kind of blended in with all the other St. Patrick's Day stuff.
There was too much St. Patrick's Day on St. Patrick's.
that-
They dyed the river the same
It
weekend.
was actually.
They usually dye the river the weekend before.
Is that what happens? I know.
Yeah.
I know it dies. I just don't know how it relates to the actual.
I think it all happened more condensed this time. I think we like somehow, because St. Patrick's Day was on the weekend, everything sort of had to happen that weekend. And so Guinness, first year being open for St. Patrick's Day, I would have thought they would have went big league on it.
I'll just make like an unforgettable. Everyone knows we're partying kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
I hear that. I don't think it went down like that. What was I gonna say? Oh, I don't know if you ever made it up to Peckish Pig in Evanston, but
Oh, wait, one time.
yeah. So I mean, they got a nice space. They have a very good patio set up.
Okay.
Oh, but they're out of beers. They're out of their own beers. All they have is guest drafts, and according to the staff, there are no plans. They don't have a brewer. The brewer left, and they have no plans on backfilling, and they have no plans on making their own beer.
Is this brewer Doug, who might be looking for...
Dougie Doug. Doug.
Okay.
Yeah. So it sounds like I'm looking at a photo I took every bit of 2018 and
they have like a small system.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But they had 10 of their own beers on at one point in 2018.
What's a small like Mr. Beer Kit system, right?
It's very tiny. It's not big. Yeah. Peak of their program was they did a collab with Few Spirits. They did a gin and juice IPA. So they took all the botanicals from the Few Spirits gin, added grapefruit, and put it in a 7% IPA, and it was fantastic.
That's cool.
Outside of that, I don't recall any of their house beers. It's a good restaurant, and they make good cocktails. But it sounds like they might not be making beer anymore. Sounds like they might be offloading their equipment and getting out of and just becoming a restaurant.
More profitable.
That's their audience. You know, you got to give the people what they want. No one gives a fuck about your beers, but they love this lamb burger and these fucking curry fries, and they love your space, and, you know, they love the cocktails, so fuck it.
Yeah, I've only been once. I feel like I need to go again.
Yeah. If you're up that way, it's a solid option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. That's going to do it, I think, for this week's episode. We should be back next week with another one. Take care.
Cheers.